Welcome then, as we take a step back into the nostalgic golden days of motorsport. Spa is unashamedly a throwback, and all the better for it. Climbs, drops, sharp turns, chicanes, sweeping high-speed corners, all while taking in some of the most beautiful scenery that Europe has to offer. This might sound like a travel brochure, but it's not. It's a race day. Welcome along to Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high quality racing as well. Simply put it, there's no place quite like it. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Stroll, Perez, Albon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Zhou, Ocon, Magnussen, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Sargent, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me today, a man small in stature but big on comment, Anthony Davidson. Hello. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say they've got the better of them more often than not.
Yeah, they have, and it's, rule number one, beat your teammate. They're the one that share the same equipment as you. And yes, the cars can vary in setup from race to race and depending on who has which style. But essentially, they're your barometer, the yardstick. If you can...
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes' time. Rain in 10 minutes. We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. Valtteri. Right, we've got some clear track in front of us, so let's make best use of it and make the next lap a quick one. You got this. Okay, really good. You hit that target nicely. There's a long way to go in this race, so let's keep it clean. Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can. Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed.
Problems there. Sauber will no doubt
that was
be
our
very
last stop.
happy with
No
that
more
stop.
scheduled pit stops. Let's go. we're expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes. Joe's coming in for his stop now. Okay, we're monitoring some wear on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power. Okay, Valtteri, lap times are a little erratic at the moment. We need consistency, so let's try and stabilise them. And some information on Leclerc. They've got some kind of mechanical problem. expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes. Great stuff. It looked like you made easy work of that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race. Final lap, final lap. Push, push.
Yes! Ooh, thank you. That was fun.
He's flown to victory. What a finish! Valtteri Bottas.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
So here they come now, out onto the podium. It's thrilling to see this team go toe-to-toe with the best in the sport and come out on top. What a superb victory for the Sauber team. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.